Thank you, Mark, and hello from London. Okay, last week when I broadcast, I pointed out the lack of technical patterns with only 2 weekly key reversals in the markets that week that I follow. Well, it seems the markets were saving them all for the month end, as we had a wealth of weekly key reversals and quite a few monthly ones as well. In the weekly key reversals, we had key reversals down in US dollar Philippine peso, Euro Swiss, US dollar Thai baht, London white sugar futures, spot platinum, and both London and New York cocoa futures. We had weekly key reversals up in US dollar against the Polish zloty, Swiss franc Polish zloty, US dollar against the South African rand, NYMEX heating oil, and RBOB futures as well on NYMEX. Also both ICE Brent crude oil and ICE gas oil futures. As for the monthly key reversals, we had key reversals down in Euro Swedish krona and Chicago live cattle. The latter was something I'd cautioned may happen over the last 2 weeks. We had key reversals up in New York coffee futures, but not the London contract. And also in 2 markets I had cautioned might happen, Euro sterling and Minneapolis wheat futures. Moving as we have from a famine to a feast such as this makes me wonder where to start. However, I'd like to point out some things first. First, in the weeklies, there is no change in the dollar versus other currencies, or rather, there is no trend developing beyond that what we already have. You had weekly key reversals up in US dollar South African rand, but also weekly key reversals down in US dollar Philippine peso and US dollar Polish zloty. So the EM, or emerging market space, is not uniform, or even the developing market space is not uniform. However, there is some movement in a stronger Swiss franc, with a weaker Euro Swiss and a stronger Swiss franc Polish zloty. There was a uniform move up in the energy complex. We saw this in NYMEX heating oil, NYMEX RBOB, and over here in ICE Brent crude oil and ICE gas oil. Interestingly, we didn't see it in NYMEX crude oil. This market came close, but it wasn't a weekly key reversal up, and I put that solely down to Monday last week's action of an indecisive doji cross. How can you really be expected to make a weekly key reversal when the first day of the week is indecisive? ICE London white sugar had a really nice weekly key reversal, but it ran into support of the rising medium moving average below, currently 446.5, and that halted the flow lower. Plus, New York sugar did not even come close to making a weekly key reversal down, and in this case you'd need the goodwill from one to get the other. I additionally had the London contract as well as the New York contract on my list for a possible monthly key reversal last time. Unfortunately, neither met the final closing criteria, and we ended up with outside months in both contracts. Spot platinum was another obtuse one, showing a weekly key reversal down last week. Prices since then have instead moved higher, to new highs not seen since February. Finally, on the weekly front, we had key reversals down in both London and New York cocoa. I'll be making a full video on both of these later today, but suffice it to say both have had immediate follow-on lower actions this week. And I'm particularly interested in the implications for the larger super diamond pattern in New York cocoa. Now a quick look at the monthly key reversals. Euro sterling is an obtuse one. A monthly key reversal up, but if you delve fractally into the daily action, you will see the market's taken the opposite action, with a move lower out of the recent ascending triangle on the daily chart towards target X in the 85.90 area, and actually in danger of also making a double top. The only thing to watch for is if we have a pullback up, which is prone to happen on ascending triangles. I cover this each day in my daily FX commentary. New York's coffee's monthly key reversal up seemed to have run into a dead patch after last week reaching the topside target for a bull flag formed in the middle of April. Well, maybe not so now. Euro Swedish krona looked like it similarly stalled and actually started to recover some of the move lower, though it is way early in the scale of a monthly chart. The monthly key reversal up in Minneapolis wheat futures and in no other grain futures either side of the Atlantic is a function of its timing compared to the others. Minneapolis was the only one that had a recent low on the 1st of April. All the others had their lows one day before, on the 31st of March. That is why they did not show up. Minneapolis nevertheless has continued to move higher, strengthened by the monthly key reversal up as it showed. Finally, Chicago live cattle. This was a late contender, as I wasn't so sure it would make a monthly key reversal down 2 weeks ago, and only fully appreciated it early last week. Well, we've seen a changeover gap higher since, but prices are now moving back into the realm of last week's consolidation, as it's set up for the monthly key reversal down. There are two key features here to watch out for. The overhead medium moving average, currently at 119, and the long moving average below, currently at 114. These two are starting to seemingly channel this market ever so slightly higher. However, there is a pattern possibly in development. If we take the action from the high of April until last week's low as one leg, and the main action since Monday of last week as a hesitation, including after the change, well, possibly, just possibly, we may have, if you believe in the monthly key reversal down, then we may have a possible bear flag. It is way too early as yet, but I wanted to put it out there just in case. Now, the only issue of this scenario is that live cattle hasn't punched down properly, that is, through the long moving average, not since February 2020. I'm happy to share my videos, various charts, and answer any questions with anyone who's interested. And with that, I'll finish this section from London. I hope you found these comments useful.